for the next episode. Can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snap shoes off, no remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.
Hi, guys. Welcome to next episode. I'm your host, Nick.
And I'm Jess.
And today we're going to be discussing Unknown Number High School Catfish.
Perfect.
Awesome. So, this is actually the first documentary that we've covered. I love a documentary. How about you?
Me too. I love documentaries.
Do you have like a particular genre that you like?
I don't think so. I just need a wild ride. That's it. That's all I need is for it to go someplace crazy and unexpected, as this one very well does.
So, if I'm honest, I will watch a documentary about just about anything, but I love a cult documentary. I do.
You do.
If it's a cult documentary,
You love a cult
I'm
documentary or show?
I
Cult
do.
documentary, show, anything on a cult.
I'm fascinated by systems of control, apparently, because not only like cults specifically, but also like I will watch like a show about like a fundamentalist religion and how it's like controlling people. Like I've watched documentaries like about Scientology, about Mormonism, about the Moonies. Do you have you heard of them?
No.
It's like it's like from like maybe the 60s, 70s, something like that. And it's like a religious like group, and it's like based like on a Korean family. And like they arrange marriages like all around the world, and like you literally don't know this person. Everybody goes to like this one place, and then the cult leader is like, okay, you gonna marry her. Okay, you're gonna marry you like, and literally it's just matching them up. And so literally it's like all around the world. So like a lot of these marriages end up being
What's the
interracial.
point?
He knows who they're supposed to be with, I guess, because he's like the
just
religious
knows.
leader. I'm gonna find the Mooney cult.
Okay. I can watch it.
And actually, because it's actually really, really good. And I need to do a where are they now? I'm like, are they still married? Like this one girl, I think they got permission from like the head of the religion, I guess the families, to like arrange their own marriage. And so it was like I think it was like a white British woman. No. I think she was white American, and she ended up marrying like a black British guy. And her friends was like, wait a minute, how did you pull that one off? And I'm gonna send it to you. It's really interesting.
Absolutely.
So yes, I love a cult documentary. Now, this documentary is not about cults. Still, it had me glued to my seat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And after I watched it, I like tapped into like a lot of the discourse online. And so many people were like, oh, I knew who it was immediately that was doing it. I'm going to be real. I did not know who it was. I was like, whoever's doing this is a weirdo. So essentially the documentary is about like cyber stalking and cyberbullying. It's like a very, very tiny town in Michigan, and it's one of those places where the elementary, middle, and high school are all in the same building, it sounds like. Everybody knows each other. And we've done our time in small towns.
Yeah.
So living in a small town is different. It's a different experience, and it's something that to truly understand the politics of living in a small town where everybody knows everyone, it's interesting. It is very interesting. So I don't know if you've never had that experience. If you really it adds a layer to the documentary if you know what it's like because there's almost like a suffocating feeling living in a small town.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would be suffocated. I think some people like it and thrive there. Like, they're kind of, especially if you're the big fish in the small town. But yeah, it's like nosiness on another level. Everybody knows everybody's business. It's like, it feels like there's no secrets.
No
I think the big
privacy.
thing with this one, no privacy. And then if you come into the small town from outside, you are forever an outsider.
That's true. That is very true. So in this documentary, you learn that it starts off like kind of sweet and innocent. Like these two like sports loving little children like start a relationship, and they're young. They're like 12.
They're in, like, 7th grade? 7th, 8th grade?
They're like 12, 13, and they're starting this very cute, very innocent relationship. And they're just being children who like to hang out and who like to play sports. And all of a sudden, like they both start getting harassing text messages.
Mhm,
And the text messages just kind of amp up in vulgarity, viciousness, meanness. And so the main two children who are getting cyber stalked, there's a girl named Lauren and there's her
mhm,
boyfriend Owen. And so Lauren's like her text messages primarily like bully her, saying things like Owen doesn't like you, he's cheating on you, he's dating me. And then it moves to like attacking her physically. Your body is this, your body is that. And then it like gets so deep that it's like you didn't even score enough points in the game that you played. I was
yes.
like, this is
You know
weirdly specific insult.
right, oddly specific, and then to the point where it, is, like, telling her to take her own life. It gets really dark.
It does. It does. And at the same time, her boyfriend is receiving like text messages. Why are you dating her? What's wrong with, like, why would you be dating her? Something's wrong with her. You should be dating me, but not necessarily saying who you are. And then, but I don't know if the text messages ever like attack Owen the way that they attack Lauren.
No,
But they do get overwhelming and they do get like very explicitly sexual to a scary amount because these are children. And
they're
that was
young.
one of the things while I'm watching the documentary. You're
Mhm,
seeing the interviews with them, like you're watching they're interviewing the kids, they're interviewing their parents. And when they start filming the documentary, these kids are like a little bit older now. So these kids are like around 16 or 17 when they're filming the documentary. But
mhm,
this torment went on when they were like 13, 14.
yeah,
And I
mhm,
I I had to, like, keep that keenly
mhm,
awareness of it because it was a lot of aggressive, sexual.
graphic.
It was
Mhm,
horrible. And I can
mhm,
understand, like, why, like, getting, like, those constant messages would just, like, mentally break these kids down.
yeah.
I don't understand. I probably would have taken their phones away and gave them landlines.
That is the most frustrating part for me watching the documentary because several people told them to take the phones away. Several people told them to take the number, to change the number. Neither set of parents did that. And they had their reasons. There were a lot of things that they wanted them to be connected to. They want to be able to get in touch with them. But I'm like, if nothing else than to take the attention away from the person, I'm like, you got to go a few months without this phone just so like they're not going to get what they want and hopefully they'll stop punish you. But ultimately, I'm like, what essentially is what, like a year and a half, 2 years of this? Because like it started when they were in 7th grade, it kind of paused for a year and then started again for another year.
Mhm.
So yeah, about a year and a half of this at a young age, their sanity is more important than them having access to a cell phone.
They had those little phones that they came up with small children that would call like two numbers and 911.
The Migo phones, they still have them.
That's what they would have had. Here,
Girl.
if you need to get in touch, you can call me, you can call your dad, you can call the police. And that
Hmm.
is it. Until we figure out this situation, like that you can make phone calls. We'll find other ways for you to do the other things you need to do online. But the
Yeah.
first thing that I would have done was cut off even access for them to like get the messages.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Just
just
for
feel
their
like
own safety and protection.
now, I know it did take a while for the kids to tell their parents about it because
Hmm.
teenagers, of course, think that they can handle things on their own. But as soon as they would have came and told me, I would have been like, "Listen, you have not done anything wrong, and I'm
Hmm.
not doing this to punish you, but I
Yeah.
have to keep you safe physically and safe mentally. I'm
Hmm.
taking the phone.
Yeah.
We will figure out something else."
There were parts where, like, you have the, parents, like, I think Owen's parents talking about, "Oh, he's up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning reading these messages." At the very least, give me your phone. You know what I mean? When it's time to go to bed because of this situation. Like, why would you want him or allow him to be up reading that for hours?
And they're like, we're
All
talking
over
like
there.
30, 40, 50 messages a day.
It was a lot.
And so when you like listen to the documentary, you feel like the parents' frustration because it gets kind of messy. It starts with like Lauren and Owen receiving these text messages, and then as
Mhm,
the school and the sheriff are trying to figure out who's sending it, like accusations are flying and different kids are getting pulled in and they're getting interrogated and they're getting investigated and their parents are getting involved. And once again, this is in a small town. So these are people who know each other, who have
mhm,
known each other, who already had previous feelings about each other, probably
mhm,
previous grudges against each other, and it would just got continue to get messier and messier and messier. Now, while I'm watching the documentary, I personally have my opinions on some people.
mhm.
I feel like Chloe is in this documentary and she's like, it was so terrible for me. It was so horrible for me because I got accused and people were calling me a bully. Now, I would just like to say this. Chloe did not do it. She did
She
not.
did not do it.
I do believe Chloe's a bully though. I
She
do.
was one of the prime suspects pretty early on,
She was.
and because she, has a reputation in that town for being a bully. You think she's a bully?
I do. I absolutely think she's a bully. I'm pretty sure it was Owen, who is her friend, said she's not a nice girl. He didn't want to call her a bully. He's like, I mean, she's not a nice girl. I do believe she was bullying his cousin Adriana.
Mhm,
The Kara story is probably true. And I'm going to tell you why I really believe Chloe's a bully. Her parents come off as bullies in
mhm,
the documentary. They also come off as jerky people. And once again, in the context of the what the documentary is about, the cyberbullying and harassment, Chloe
mhm.
did not do it. That does
She
not
did not.
exonerate her and make her like a nice person. And she's even on TikTok now. And like she's talking about stuff, but the way she talks about it, it just further solidifies my opinion. And to find out
Yeah.
that like her mom dressed like the culprit for Halloween after everything went down,
Er,
I'm just like,
that was unnecessary.
you did not do this thing does not mean you did not do anything. I'm
Right.
sorry.
True.
I do feel bad for Owen's cousin Adriana, who was also like accused.
Mhm.
And I knew immediately it was not her. Like she came off as I don't bother nobody. I mind my business. I stay in my own lane.
Yeah. Quiet, introverted, yeah, absolutely. And I like, okay, so I didn't know who it was from the beginning, but pretty early on, I was like, "This is an adult." So, like, all the kids, I was like, it just feels like an adult. This does not feel like a child did this." So, yeah, Adriana too, I was like, "No, it's not her." And I'm like, "Chloe is way too obvious for it to be Chloe." There would be no documentary if it was Chloe. But yeah.
It did not honestly, if you look at the volume of text messages and as you kind of hear, like these are like, once again, these are small town kids, but these are also kids who are in a lot of activities. Like
They
they're
are.
playing all of these sports, they're doing all of these things. It would be very hard for a child, honestly, who is
Mhm,
like, who has all of this other stuff going on to achieve that level of craziness. So, and also, like, I wasn't really processing the messages as I was watching it. When I went
mhm.
back and watched it again, if you actually like look at the actual messages, yeah, that's not a child because
That's not
even
a child.
the lingo, like the words that are you, I'm like, no,
Mhm.
that's not how kids these days
No,
talk.
it sounds like it well, one, at the beginning, this sounds like an adult, and they're using punctuation and full grammar, and that's an adult. And then eventually, I think they changed their style to try to sound like a child, but it still sounds like an adult trying to sound like a child.
So after watching like these kids like get to their breaking point, the FBI gets involved. And the
Mhm.
FBI gets involved and figures out that all of these text messages came from one person, and that
Mhm.
person is Lauren's mother, Kendra. Now, I don't want to be rude, and I don't want to talk about
You going to.
I don't want to be.
Mhm.
And I don't want to like overly discuss someone's aesthetics. But I will say this. If you like take every other person who was in the documentary and line them up with Lauren's mom,
Yeah.
aesthetically, she looks drastically different. And to
Mhm.
find out she's like not originally from the town and pretty much everybody else is, I'm
Yeah.
like, man,
Even more of an outcast.
what town is she from? What are they doing over there?
Mhm.
Why does she look like that? And actually, like when I looked at her husband, I'm like, he's like a decent looking guy. How did he end up with like? She kind of reminds me of like Master Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay, that's my last comment about the way that she looks. But so you find out that
Oh,
it's Lauren's mother who so she has been like just bullying her daughter, talking about her
yes.
daughter, calling her daughter anorexic, talking about her flat butt, talking about how unattractive she is or how she's not smart. It is like
It
disgusting. I don't even know if disgusting hits the right tone.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't hit it at all. And I'm like, that is your biggest op right there. Your mom is your biggest op. And I'm like, she is tearing down that girl's self-esteem. I don't care why she said she did it. Like you broke that girl down for about the better 2 years. That is just ridiculous. And I'm like, oh goodness. It's not only the girl going through that and not knowing who it is, and then having to withdrawing from like most of her friendships because she doesn't know who it is, and this person seems to know so much about her, to finding out that that is her actual mother and what that does to you psychologically. Not to mention the mom has a whole bunch of other issues as well. So outside of the cyberbullying, people also commented that how like they were oddly close. That her mom was going through her phone. That and not in a way like a mom like to make sure nothing like you're not doing something you're not supposed to be doing, but going through it so that she could be all up in her in everything.
Sending messages to Owen from her phone, sending I love you messages. And so, okay, I feel like when it comes to like this case, that they focused like on the stalking and on the cyberbullying and kind
Mhm.
of overlooked the deeply like sexual nature of the texts that she was sending to literal children.
Mhm.
Like,
Agreed. Agreed.
especially the ones that she was sending to Owen, because that
Mhm.
is not your child. That is a young boy who you are clearly attracted to. Because so in addition to like watching the documentary, I also watched people discuss like an article in the cut. So there's an article in the cut and it goes even more in depth and talk about a lot of the things that the documentary left out. About
Yeah.
how like the town honestly had strong suspicions that it was Kendra, but they go into so much more detail about Kendra's creepy behavior with Owen.
Yes.
Like her like becoming his coach, traveling to his away games,
Mm.
sometimes like without Lauren, like
Right.
like scheduling family vacations around Owen's
Mhm.
games, cutting up his steak.
Yeah. She at some point tries to turn one of the games into a family vacation, like kind of invites herself to one of his away games. And then his mom has to say no. And this is before the mom had any suspicions.
Mhm.
She was just like, it's just like she constantly is pushing boundaries with everybody, I would assume. But definitely with Owen and her daughter, even outside of the cyber stalking.
So, like, I just feel like even if the cyber stalking was not going on, I feel like as Owen's mom, I would have had an issue with Kendra's behavior and I would have had to pull her to the side. And she and I would have had to have a one-on-one.
Yeah. But again, it's like how much of it did she know at the time too? Like I completely agree with you because I think she did notice some weird behavior. But like the thing like cutting up Owen's steak, was that something that happened in front of her? Is that something that happened like if he went to dinner at her house? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
that kind of like because he mentions in the documentary, like on upon reflection, again, this is a teenager, so he probably didn't think much of it then, but upon reflection, he's like, she was always oddly close to me. He was like, it did feel like more than just the mother of my girlfriend, like she wanted to be too close. But again, he's a teenager, so I don't know that he recognized that in real time, or maybe did not know what to do with that uncomfortable feeling around her. And
And
he's
they
probably
were
not his mother.
They were barely teenagers.
Yeah.
We're calling them teenagers and but they really were like 13 and 14-year-olds, which yes is
Mhm.
technically a teenager, but you are still very much in childhood mode at that time. Like I feel like when you're like maybe 15, 16, you're more truly of what I think of when I think of a teenager.
Yeah.
Like 13
And
and
she was
14,
very
you're on the
impulsive.
cusp still of childhood.
Hmm.
So, in addition, simultaneously, while cyber stalking her child and her child's boyfriend, and even after, because the pressure of this situation caused Lauren and Owen to break up. I also feel like it was probably also Kendra talking to Lauren, telling her, like, oh, you know what? You're not good enough for him. He's probably cheating on you. Because, like, Lauren was saying, like, these text messages were, like, fueling her insecurities. And I'm like, your mom probably wasn't helping either. Like, so they end up breaking up, and like Owen eventually gets other girlfriends. And he gets a girlfriend who is like 2 hours away from where he lives. And the mom, we find out because of like the cyber stalker, which is like Kendra, finds his new girlfriend's mom's phone number and starts texting them. I don't understand how Kendra did not get beat up once the
Girl,
town found out what
Sure,
happened.
once they put it together, because again, and then that's another thing with the mom had to put a boundary in place. She eventually, before they find out who that is Kendra, she still has to say, she has to say to Kendra, Jill, I think is the other mom's name, right?
I think
I think
Jill, yeah.
Jill has to say to Kendra, stop asking questions about, my son's love life. Our kids haven't been together for a while. We'll just talk about the cyberbullying. So yeah, there's a lot of red flags and inappropriateness in her behavior. I don't know how she didn't. I don't know
So
how she
when
fared in
she,
that time. So many kids that she bought, involved in that.
I don't
She also
understand
framed Chloe.
either. And so you said what? She did frame Chloe.
She also framed Chloe. So like you got all
She
these.
framed Chloe.
She was trying to sound like Chloe. She was sending pictures of Chloe. She framed Chloe. See, so many kids and so
That
many
is why
different sets of
Chloe is
parents.
still angry to this day.
I mean, can you blame her? Nobody likes to be accused of something that they didn't do. But and I'm surprised because Chloe parents didn't like her from jump. You can't tell me outside of all of this they didn't like Kendra. So I'm surprised, like you to your end, that nobody did
Chloe's
anything
parents
to her.
Chloe's
Yeah, she.
parents, I can clearly see, never liked Kendra and probably didn't like Lauren either. They said that that they did not uninvite Lauren or leave her off the invitation to the Halloween party. I don't believe it.
I don't believe it either. I don't believe that I do. If anything was bullying
I do
on
think
that
that
family's
they
behalf,
told the
I think
girl
that
she
one
was
was
not
intentional.
invited.
Hmm. Or just didn't invite
So
her. I don't know if
Kendra,
they,
okay,
but
so
like they intentionally left her off.
When Kendra gets like confronted by the police is my most favorite and least favorite part of the documentary. And it's my
It's most
least
favorite for
favorite because the
entertainment.
police I feel like did not handle it. Yes, it is. But like I don't feel like the police handled the confrontation correctly. I feel like they should have
Oh,
called like the father at work and told him he needs to come down to the police station. They should have had like Kendra and the daughter at the police station so that they could separate the
separated.
daughter and like at least tell the daughter with her dad there and not with the mom there because like they're
Yeah,
telling hey by the way we figured it out, like your mom has been the one who's been viciously cyberbullying you and your ex-boyfriend and essentially ruined not just your mental health but your social life and your future in this town for no reason. Your mom did that. And Lauren is breaking down and her mom is sitting there hugging her as if she's not the villain.
girl, that's the part that bothered me so much. I'm like, if you don't get your hands off that girl and let that girl figure out and deal with what she need to deal with, you know what I mean? Like that was so inappropriate. But I do agree with you. I think they should have brought all three of them down to the station. Like they kind of would have had to trick Kendra, but like, you know what I mean? Like get them all down to the station, tell the dad, let the girl have some support from her dad, and keep Kendra separate. Cause yeah, she was all over her. She was just saying foolishness that didn't make sense. But when the dad comes in, so yeah, same.
Now,
Favorite
why
part for entertainment value, because that was
my favorite
entertainment,
part of the documentary.
but least favorite part for procedure. But when the dad comes in. So the dad comes
The
in
dad,
and they're like, they've already told Kendra and the mom. And so the dad comes in and he is focused on all the wrong things. Cause like they uncovered a lot when they figured it out. They figured out that she hadn't been working for a year or two, something like that. She was lying about having jobs. She was the reason why they kept having to get foreclosed on and losing the houses because she was pretending to be working and she was just doing the cyberbullying all day. And he was so focused on the fact that she had her job. He was like, he came in the door. They told him, she's been the one cyberbullying your daughter. You ain't got no job? This whole time you've been pretending to go to work and you ain't got no job. What you mean you ain't got no job? Didn't
it was hilarious.
That poor baby.
It was the thinly veiled threats of violence for me. Now, here's the thing. I don't like domestic
No,
violence
don't
at
condone
all.
any
But
violence.
I understood where he was emotionally in that situation. And he was like, you need to leave because I can't control myself. And she's like, I'm not going to leave. He was like, listen, if you are here and the police are gone, we are both going to jail tonight and our child is going to foster care. And he's like,
Mhm.
I'm telling you, it is not safe if the police
You
are
got to go.
not standing here while they are here. Get a head start because when I find you. He told
And
her
he's
to
saying this
call
with the
her
police
parents, and
sitting
she's
there.
like, I don't want to call them. Yeah,
So then he
he's
called.
standing on business.
He calls him. But what I will
He
say is
calls her
that he
parents.
was trying his best to exercise
And
restraint. He
he's
was like,
like,
I
I
ain't got
suggest
but this
come
much
get him.
thread. He was like, what was the thing? Mike? He was like, Mike, don't go nowhere, Mike. Sheriff, Mike, please stay here till our parents get here. That man tried
He said,
everything he
if
did
you
he
leave,
could
you're
to exercise
coming
restraint. He
right
called.
back.
He was like, Mike, don't go nowhere till she gone, Mike. Don't go nowhere. And he called her parents to come pick her up.
He was
And I
very
still felt
real
like the
about
sheriff
it.
would left too early because I was like, you heard that man.
Now, was he the sheriff was so mad and so sick of this situation. He probably wanted Sam to jump on Kendra. Everybody in this town, once again, has been dealing with this
Oh, that's
situation
true. I've been working
for
on this
like
for
2
2 years.
years. They're sick and tired and
Yeah.
frustrated. So he was
hmm
probably like, I'm going to step outside. Do what you got to do because I can't do it. I'm the sheriff. But you all know, you know what we want done. Do it. Do it. I fully
See,
believe because
okay,
Sam
okay.
made it very clear. If the police leave, it's gonna get messy.
He did, and that's why I was like, he asked the sheriff Mike so many times not to leave, and I'm like, he still left before the parents got here. I was like, this man is pleading, please do not leave because I know I'm out of control. And I'm like, I felt like he was doing everything he could in that moment. And again, don't condone violence of any sort or domestic violence, but I'm like, this man is pleading with you to stay here. Stay there. This is why you should have brought them down to the police station. This is why you should have brought them down to the police station
Exactly.
and told them there instead
Exactly.
of telling them inside their own home. And then you weren't going to arrest her immediately and take her out of that home.
Absolutely. Okay, so once again, I want to refer to the article in the cut again. So what you learn in that article is one of the reasons why they've been having, yes, they were having like these financial issues because she was not working. She was telling her husband that their bank account was getting hacked. And that's why they
Yes.
didn't have money, and that's why they were losing their homes.
To the point
So yes,
where,
the
his
the
coworkers,
cyberbullying was bad, but for him, he's like, yeah, you've been doing this that sucks, but also you've been lying to me and taking me through my own little personal hell because
that is
you've
a
been
good
lying
point.
to me and making stuff up and making me look stupid out in the community.
Because his coworkers was like, ain't nobody getting hacked that many times. Ain't nobody always getting hacked. But and okay, and I will say this, I did feel for him in that moment. But it also, it's one of them things where they said people made comments that he let her handle everything, that he just was not involved. And that's your fault. Like you are so disconnected. You done got kicked out of 4 houses and you still ain't checked into what's going on.
Wonder if it was an intelligence thing based on the fact that he believed everything that she was saying as things are getting more and more terrible. But he's like, yeah, no, we're getting hacked. But you know that this woman has 3 phones because the police got 2 of the phones from her. When he came in, they're like, hey, do you have any more phones? And she was like, I don't have any phone. He said, nah, tell them about, you have a 3rd phone. Where is it? So you know your wife has 3 phones.
Mm-hmm.
And but you also believe that y'all are getting hacked 15 times, and that's why you've had to move 4 times. You got your house foreclosed on. I honestly think it's an intelligence thing.
Okay. She got 3 phones and she lied about 2 jobs. Like, it take a special person to lie and say you got 2 jobs, so you ain't got none.
Yes, it is wild. And not only did she lose one of the jobs, I don't think she ever had the second one. period.
No, and then she lost the one that she lost, it sounds like, and I think this is more information from the article in the cut, because of the cyberbullying. Because she lost the job because she was on her phone too much doing non-work related activity, which likely was the cyberbully.
Absolutely, it was. And also, she worked in IT. I don't know if we mentioned that. Like,
Right.
she
She
worked
worked
in,
specifically with cell phones.
yes,
So which may be why he didn't think too much about, because like that last job that she got was in IT with cell phones. Maybe he didn't think too much about her having three phones because that was really her job. And I know she said one was for work. So I don't know. Maybe one was for one job that she didn't really have, and the other was for that other fake job. I don't know.
just, I don't understand how he did not understand that she was not working. I'm like, was she borrowing money? Was she like, how were they living? I don't understand.
Hmm.
Especially knowing like that their daughter was like playing all of these different sports, like all of those sports fees and things, like it adds up. Like it's cheaper living in a small town, but in a lot of ways it's expensive because there's always something going on. There's always some activity. I don't understand how they survive because she was the primary breadwinner. The cut
Hmm.
article also said she was the primary breadwinner. So
Yeah.
with her income being the majority of the income, he should have noticed immediately when it disappeared.
But that's what people were saying. He was that checked out from the finances, from everything. But I'm like, so that means you're not paying attention at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not checking bank accounts at all. You're
No.
not checking into anything that's going on at all. And then even like and I think again this comes from the article and not the show. There was something a phrase about how the police were surprised at how little he knew about the cyberbullying. Y'all been doing this for 2 years. Your child has been getting bullied for 2 years, and you don't know nearly the details of that. Yeah, you're just going to work and coming home and not doing nothing.
Right. I think he's drinking though, because I don't
Mhm,
know if you paid attention to the scene where the police are there. Like in the background, there is
mhm.
a ton of alcohol back there. I'm pretty sure he was drinking. And that's why he was blacked out drunk. Like maybe that's why he didn't know what was going on. But he's like, yeah, I asked Kendra, do you have it under control? And she was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. What?
Clearly, you don't have it under control.
Well, she
You know
was
what I mean?
doing it, but like also like why is it you feel like you don't have to participate if especially because you're not even the primary breadwinner in
No,
this, so why is it that you don't have to participate in
right.
the house stuff too? What is
And
going
to be
on?
clear, because there's a long period of time when she's faking having a job. Prior to her faking having the job, when she actually was employed, she made the most money. She was like, yeah, she was the breadwinner. They even joked. They said that the people at his job called her his sugar mama. And you go to work telling all your business.
Small town stuff. Small town. People know,
Mhm.
people, but
Yeah.
I think it's one of those, I don't know because we don't get too much information about what life was like before it started, but just based on the fact that he was from that town and she's new to that town and the aesthetic disparity between the two, I think that is why he behaves and was allowed to behave the way that he has. I wonder if he's remarried. I don't
Probably.
know. I would
Well,
think that he has probably also remarried too. But
mhm.
it seems like he's been doing a good job raising Lauren.
Lauren.
Sorry, I don't know. Did I start calling her London earlier than that?
No, I didn't notice. If you did, she means Lauren. It's okay.
Anytime
It's
I've
always
said
me.
London, I mean Lauren. It sounds like he's done a good job raising her. Like
Mhm.
she
He,
seems to be
he
doing well.
as well as can be expected for what she's experienced. There was a lot of contact between. So eventually, the mom does get arrested and she serves 19 months in jail.
Mhm.
There was a lot of contact between her and Lauren in jail, especially like it almost seemed immediately to me. I don't know, and maybe that just may be the way the documentary shows time. But if I have anything, it's like I think she needed some time. I know that's hard because that's her mom, but I think she needed some time. She still had too
I
much.
agree that she needed time, but I don't think at that time she wanted time. And she was already felt like she was suffering without her mom. And they did
Hmm.
limit it, like she was only allowed to talk to her twice a week. But it sounded like her
Okay.
mom was using like every amount of time available. What I've seen is like since then, like as Lauren has gotten older and like
Hmm.
able like to process things and process emotions better and has had some distance from the situation, she really kind of has a better understanding of what happened to her. And like she has not seen her mom yet. Her mom's already out of prison. She has not seen her. She cannot, I think, legally see her till 2026. But I don't even think at that point the way Lauren feels now, I don't think she's like ready to see her mom. I really honestly think the older she gets, better she can process the situation, the more she can understand how horrible it was what her mom did to her. But once again, she was so young and so shocking.
Yeah.
And her mom also, never forget that her mom had that very unhealthy attachment from it's like
Prior
Stockholm
to that.
syndrome
Yeah.
essentially. So I think she's slowly getting away from it. I don't know if like just chopping and cutting it off would have been the best thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your first
I
thought
would
is
learn.
get
I
her
just because like
away. But
mhm,
I honestly feel like that makes her mom into a victim. Like, oh,
mhm,
they're taking my mom away from me. And I think it creates like sympathy. I feel like her continuing to see her mom, well, not see her mom, but being able to speak to her mom while her mom is in jail. And the messages you see, her mom is not like sorry and acknowledging what happens. Her mom is like business as usual. And I think over time, Lauren is like, that's crazy. You've done all of this. She has not said this, but based on like the
I
fact
don't
that
know.
as she gets
I'm still
older,
concerned.
she's moving more and more away from her mom. It makes me feel like she's like able to like look at the situation and really
Mhm.
understand like this person, while telling me she loved me and I was the most important person, was actively like harming me and continues to now like gaslight me as if it never happened.
So I think we see that a little bit differently because she has not seen her mom since she's gotten out of prison, and there she actually has less contact with her now than she did when she was in prison. But I did not get the impression that Lauren was doing that. I got the impression that the dad was kind of more so, being more intentional about how much access he allowed her to Kendra. Because, like, to me, she was still saying, like, I want to see my mom. People were asking me, how do you still talk to your mom? But I want to talk to my mom. That's still my mom. So I didn't get that impression that Lauren was pulling back. I got the impression that the father was just kind of managing it a bit better than he did when she was in prison.
Well, the director, like most recently, came out and was talking about it, and she was saying that, like, because Lauren's like around 18 now, that at this point, like, she really doesn't desire to like have contact with her mom at this point. Like, the
Hmm.
more she thought about it and the further she got away from it, she was able to process it differently and understand differently. So
Hmm.
it's like present day. Like she's gotten to a place where she can see like what happens. You know what I
Okay.
mean? But yeah, I think I think I honestly feel like that's slowly loosening the tether because her mom is still being crazy. I feel like her mom is still cuckoo cuckoo. And the reason why I say that is because she agreed to be interviewed in this documentary knowing she was the villain. But
Knowing
and she said out of her mouth, well, everybody does bad things. I just got caught.
she still takes no accountability, no responsibility
None.
for what she does. She still minimizes everything that she did to her daughter, and she still desires that closeness, but control, like that inappropriate closeness with her daughter.
Right. So, and also at this point, her daughter has seen the documentary. So the daughter has seen the documentary to know that even in this like time, her mom still has no remorse for the situation.
None, none.
And expresses like no sense of like self-control. Like I feel like her mom, I would not trust her to watch my dog.
Girl, no, no.
So as Lauren gets older and is like having like more mature experiences, like would you feel comfortable bringing your boyfriend around her? I don't know. If you had
No.
kids, would you feel comfortable with her watching your
Listen,
kids? I wouldn't want her at my wedding because I feel like she would make it about her some kind of way.
she is. That's definitely the kind of personality she has. She makes everything about her, and other people in the documentary alluded to that know her.
Her cousin was sad. Her cousin was funny. She was nice about Kendra, but when she said, if I was here talking, Kendra would be over dancing in the corner trying to get your attention. I'm
Yes,
like, that was funny because she's like, that's my cousin and I love her, but
but she a lot.
she is. She
So
really is.
I mean, I hope you're right. I hope Lauren is getting perspective. Like I didn't, it didn't seem like that to me on the documentaries, and but I think you're talking about things that came out afterwards.
Yes, I am because
Yeah.
she was still fairly young. And also the documentary that was recorded over time, because if you look at her when she has on like that pink outfit, you can tell she's much younger than when she has on that gray outfit.
Yeah.
And but she's still fairly young during that time. Like now she's like 18 and about to go to college. And I think she has now seen the documentary and seen like, her mom in the documentary. I think it's just like further helped her to solidify her feelings, because I can understand her like having conflicted feelings and not being able to understand how my mom, who is like so close to me, has been so involved and has basically made it seem like I'm her world, also been the one like doing this to me and essentially ruining her high school experience, because like Lauren still had to go to the same high school. And so she's
Yeah.
around all of those
Okay.
people.
That is the other thing. And I'm just say this. My gripes with the dad is, he's male. Handles things the way males would have. Because the way that I would have pulled my child out of that school, but I think women think about stuff like that. You know
Mm.
what I mean? She's not going to have a normal childhood or existence in this setting. Y'all done lost 4 houses in this place anyway. I don't know what your situation is, but sell it. Get out the lease, do whatever you need to do. Get her somewhere else where she can. It's not going to be perfect. She's still going to have a different childhood because her mom is in jail, but as normal as she could have. And she's not going to have it with these set of people. You still got people blaming her, saying that she knew. And I genuinely don't think that she knew. I genuinely don't
I
think that she
think
knew.
that she was suspicious, but if you read the article in The Cut, the whole
Hmm.
town was suspicious of Kendra. Like I feel like the
Right.
documentary made it seem like Kendra was flying completely under the radar the whole time. But the Cut article honestly is like a lot of people thought it was Kendra, like, and thought that
Hmm.
Kendra was involved. Some people thought it was
Right.
Kendra and Lauren together, but a lot of people
But
suspected Kendra.
yeah. Because
And
she did get,
so I
yeah.
think that there was a point where Lauren was like, dang, maybe the town is right. Maybe it is my mom. But she, of course, without solid proof, is not going to want to believe that, because that
But
is,
yeah, that's devastating. But to my point, like, after everybody finds out, yes, there are going to be some people who just want to make it the most salacious as possible, who are going to think, oh, they were in on it together, because like Chloe's parents allude to that. Um,
I don't like Chloe's
and
parents.
and you know what I mean? Like, so like she's not gonna have a normal childhood. You have people blaming her. I think her and Owen don't talk, which I get because he's been through trauma as well. But he alluded to some things that sound like a little bit blaming Lauren. I'm like, Lauren can't control who her mom is no more than you can control who your mama is. You know, and I'm like, I would have gotten her out of there. Like, get her somewhere else. Let her get as fresh start as she can have. Yes, this stuff is going to come out, but hopefully it came out like towards the end of her. Either she's done with high school or getting close to being done with high school. You know what I mean? So she
Hmm.
can have as normal of a childhood as she can have for as long as she could. But then people in them towns, they're so attached to them towns. That is not the only small town in the world.
Right. Right. Do you think that this situation happened with like Kendra because she specifically was like attracted to Owen as like the star? Because he was like like his family is, he's a popular family. He was a popular little boy, like, or do you think it was whatever little boy Lauren was going to be dating, Kendra was going to fixate on him?
Yeah, I think both of those things could be true. I think it heightened things with like, so I think it's not one clear cut reason. And Kendra clearly has a lot of issues. Like she alludes in her little speech at the end, when she's in court, she alludes to depression, anxiety, and she reports being abused as part of her reasoning for this. So there's
Hmm.
a lot of issues there. I think she desperately needs attention. And this was a way to get attention to her on a lot of different fronts. I think there was a weird semi-attraction or some kind of inappropriate like feeling she had for Owen. Owen is not even just his parents are a big deal in the town, so she wanted to be in that inner circle. That's one thing. I think Owen represents a kind of boy she wouldn't have been able to get in high school. And
Hmm.
so that's another thing. You're trying to live these, your own teenage years. And then I think there is a jealousy of her daughter. So yes, I think it would have been any boy, but I think the fact that this boy in particular heightened everything for her because of his stature in the town and his access.
I feel so bad. I feel so bad for like Lauren. She did not, and not to say that I don't feel bad for Owen. Of course, I feel
Yeah.
bad for Owen, but I
And
feel
it's
because
fair.
Lauren's life did not have to turn out this way. She was so young when all of this started. People thinking that she was complicit in this is to me very, very crazy
Right.
because like their relationship was very innocent. They were very
Hmm.
they were
They
they
were
were
so
so
keen.
young.
Yeah, yeah.
They were little kids, like, having, like, a very little kid relationship. You know
Right.
what I mean? And, like, for her mom to just kind of come in and
And just
destroy that is
it's crazy.
there is no amount of excuses. Because if
None.
you really love your child and you have all of these issues, you could have went and got help.
You should have went and got help so long ago.
And
So long ago. But
the
can I say this though?
Go ahead.
I want to be clear. I don't think Lauren knew anything. I don't think she was complicit in any way. But can I tell you, if she had been, I would still feel sympathy for her. She has been, like Lauren's mother, Kendra has been had an inappropriate, like almost an emotionally incestuous relationship with her from the beginning of her life. Like this woman has warped her whole, understanding of what a parent-child relationship is. So like if she had been, it would still be Kendra's fault, not Lauren's.
That's very true. That's a very true. That's a
You
very
know?
true. Mhm.
So like, I mean, like the fact that she is so well adjusted now is amazing.
Yes, I was also very surprised because I don't know
Girl,
how someone
how
could
you
come back
recover from that?
while living in that town too, you
Girl,
know?
that's what I'm like. And then I'm like, this dude, and I mean, he did step up and he raised her as a single parent after his wife went to jail and after the divorce. But like, it's just such man logic. I just feel like, you know what I mean? A woman would have been so much protective and thought about other things. And then I know they also, and to be fair, there were already financial issues. And I'm sure after she gets arrested and you have to deal with all that, there are more financial issues. So maybe they just literally couldn't move.
Right.
Maybe that if I give him the benefit of the doubt of that, maybe,
Maybe.
yeah.
But it was a good time. The documentary was a good time, and I
Mhm.
just hope I never see Kendra on the street.
Girl,
It's the fact that she, even in this day and age, even at this point, still does not even understand like the depravity and what she did. It just bugs me to no end. It bugs me
mhm.
to no end. She is not safe around any child. Do you hear me? And then
No,
I think that's one of the things that makes me mad. She should be on the sex offenders list. And the fact that
that's the thing that we didn't get to. They didn't
they
charge her
didn't
for any
bring
of the
any
explicit.
like kind of sexual charges against her, and maybe it's because I think she took a plea deal or she pled
Oh, okay.
guilty, I think to like
Mhm,
certain counts because they didn't have a trial. So I think it's because she
mhm,
might have like took a plea deal and she like pled guilty to certain things. But if I were Owen's parents, I would have
girl.
pushed for her to have to be a registered sex offender because you were
'Cause
sending sexually explicit messages to my child for a long period of time. Yes, you
mhm,
were also sending them to your child too, but you were sending them to my child.
yeah, you can get charged for both. You can get charged
Right.
for both of those things.
I
Like,
feel
neither of those things are appropriate.
that is what, and maybe at that point, like Jill and Owen's dad were so exhausted and
Yeah,
beat
they were
down
just
from the
kinda
situation
done.
that maybe they just wanted it to be over. But I would have pushed for some
And they
sort
may
of
not have known
sexual
that they could do
charge.
that, you know? That's also, like, this is, like all of this is new. Even though at this point, the cyberbullying thing is still, like,
Mhm.
relatively new. So they might not have known that they could do that, but yeah, definitely would have pushed for that.
So
Like, this is not okay.
I hope Kendra has at least moved. The way I would move and change my name, and I would not have done that documentary, I would have tried to start over. But
Mhm.
she probably feels like a celebrity right now because everybody's talking about her.
Which is why she did the documentary. It's because again, it's another way for her to get attention.
Because she's like, I want to tell my side of the story. And her side of the story is, I did it, and so what?
You ain't perfect. That's pretty much our point. I did it. You ain't perfect. You did stuff too. That's her whole explanation.
The audacity. But also, I don't understand why the producers did not push back. Like they handled her with like
Yeah.
such kid gloves, and I don't know if they did that because like they had like they were afraid she wasn't going to be in the documentary or because they didn't want, cuz I'm like, once they reveal that it was her that did it, I
Mhm.
feel like that was time for them to push back on some of the things that they were so gentle and so
Mhm.
sweet, I feel like, to her.
They were way too nice, way nicer than they needed to be.
So, and of course, all documentaries have a point of view and they're all trying to say something like, documentary does not necessarily mean factual. It means, let me
Mhm.
tell you a story about some stuff that happened for real. but
Right.
they're telling a story.
You're
And
so
so, what
you're so
story
shaping
do
it.
you feel like the documentarian was trying to tell?
Just I think they wanted to go for that shock value moment of revealing that this was actually her mother.
It was tea, right?
Yeah.
They were
Mhm.
spilling tea more so than like a true crime aspect. Like this was not a true crime documentary. This was like let me spill some small town tea.
Small town.
Now I sat. I was sat. I watched the entire thing in one sitting, so it worked. But it's interesting to see like what's going to be like the next thing that happens. Like, are we going to continue to get updates now? Like
Mhm.
everybody's like talking about their experiences on TikTok. So I want to see like what's happening next.
Yeah, I can yeah. What's gonna come out next? I told you I want you to watch that one. I did find the name. The Bitcoin documentary,
Hmm.
The Biggest Heist. I think it's called The Biggest Heist Ever or something like that.
The biggest heist ever. Okay, I'll watch it.
That one is a wild ride.
Okay, I love it. Like I feel like one of the wildest documentaries we ever watched was. Do you remember the documentary we watched where the guy like kidnapped the same little girl multiple times,
Oh god,
and
yeah.
he was like, and the guy was sleeping with like the
Uh,
father and the mom
mhm.
to blackmail them so that he could keep stealing their child.
Yes.
That was one of the wildest documentaries I've ever seen.
I agree. I think that was the wildest of all of them.
But I'll definitely watch that one next.
Yes, I think you'll let me let me know
I
what you think.
definitely will. Guys, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you watched the documentary, leave us a comment and tell us what you think. If you haven't watched it, even after this discussion, watch
Watch it.
it or read the article in the Cut. The Cut's article, it seems like it's like incredibly done, very researched, very
Mhm.
like much like let's paint the whole picture, but let us know what you think and what would you do if you were a member of the town. Have a great day.
See you next episode. Bye.
I'm ready for the next episode. Can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snap shoes off, no remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.